What's up, everyone? Welcome to our live Q&A conversation with the one and only general manager of the Charlotte Running Company, Harry Chandler. Welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've actually been looking forward to interviewing you for quite a while. I visited one of your stores a while back, and I was super impressed with the customer service and the selection and your guys' attention to detail, that you don't just put people in a shoe necessarily just that they want, but you actually check their gait and their technique on a treadmill to decide what shoe is going to be best for them. And so I've really been looking forward to meeting you. But then when I met you and I saw what a beast you were, and I felt like no matter how much I was working out, it was never going to be enough.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to start off by what's your workout and running routine like? Because one of the things that I notice is a lot of people that run, they're passionate about running and they're super lean. But then other people that like to lift weights, they don't usually like to run as much, but you're solid and you do quite a bit of running. So how do you balance both of those?
I just try to make sure that I keep my running the consistent part of my workout regimen. If I miss some days going to the gym and lifting, I make sure that I run regardless. I say right now that I'm probably settled in somewhere, I don't know. I'll run there. Sometimes I run back. So right around the 35-ish mark to 40 for the week. I try to get like 3 to 4 days in just to keep a solid base.
Yeah.
In case I have something coming up that I want to try to hop into. Like me and some buddies are going down to Miami in May. We're going to do a duathlon. So I don't want to have to start from zero to work my way back up. But my buddy has a gym. I think I was telling you about it. And I go there pretty much 6 of 7 days a week as well. And it rotates. So you'll have an upper body day, you'll have a lower body day, and then you'll have a conditioning day. It's a great gym. Aesthetically, it's built me like I've never looked like this before. And I really do think it's because of that specifically, along with the running. And nutrition, I try to keep tight, but I'm not going to lie. All the people that know me know my weakness is Reese's. So every now and then I'll eat maybe 6 to 8 cups in one sitting. That's fine. That's me. But other than that, I'm human, to keep it consistent.
That's cool. Have you ever tried the Justins? Like they're kind of a healthier version of the Reese's Pieces?
They're in every checkout at every fresh market in Charlotte. So yeah, I've had those.
Okay.
I got the white chocolate. I'm not going to start talking about sweets because we won't get through this.
So when you do your running, do you do all steady state running or do you do some interval training as well?
I'm a firm believer in interval training for distance running. A lot of people don't think that that's the way to go about it, that they think you should just go out there and run, but you have to build some strength. You have to build some stamina. And I think the best way to do that is interval training, a bunch of repeats over and over again, track workouts over and over again. And then, running some distance is always going to help. But I think that hill workouts, I think that repeats, and I think that track workouts are a huge part of distance running and training.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of hill training because it's mostly the concentric portion of it without the eccentric, because you're not really slowing down. It's more just trying to accelerate up the entire time, working against resistance.
Yep.
So because of that, you don't get the joint impact, but you also don't get nearly the amount of soreness that you would get with doing sprints on flat ground, because you're eliminating that eccentric component of the movement.
Yeah.
And so it's good. And it's incredibly painful.
And that's another thing. Running is mental. If you can get past the fact that maybe don't want to be out here, then you got to figure it out.
It's true. And I got to be honest, I've never been a good or a consistent runner. And it is the mental component for me, because when you're running, especially doing steady state, it's a combination of being alone with your thoughts. It's meditative, but it's also dealing with the mundaneness, also part of it, of just that repetition, and then the pain of getting tired, fatigue, muscle burn. And so I think if you do it well, it's a great thing. The challenge that I see with a lot of my patients injury wise are these repetitive stress strain injuries because their technique is off. And so I'm a huge believer in learning the right technique. I think that when we're born and we learn how to walk and run in a natural environment, we do it innately well. But because we don't hit these developmental milestones when we're young, and then we're put in shoes that don't allow for foot flexibility or natural movement and growth, and then we become sedentary for a while, and then we start to run and our technique is way off, and it's just a recipe for disaster. And I know you guys work a lot with that, don't you?
100%. So good form running is what we like to call on. A gentleman named Kurt Munson, out of Michigan, where I'm from. Actually, the first running store I worked at in Okemos, Michigan, created good form running himself and has since sold it to New Balance, and they've taken it and run with it. But we all use that programming. So there's 4 components to good form running. There is your posture, which is how you're standing when you're running. There's your lean, which is leaning forward, allowing yourself to naturally be pulled forward by gravity when you're taking off. Your cadence, so how many steps per minute. And most importantly to me is mid-foot strike, making sure you're using your entire foot to support yourself when you land. So there's even distribution of the impact on your body when you're landing. So that helps too to cut down on some of those injuries you were talking about. The biggest thing is just making sure that you keep those things consistent. Doesn't matter to me initially how fast you're moving or how long you're running for, just as long as you're calling to attention every part of those, every part of that equation when you're starting your running journey, I guess.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about those things. I mean, right when you said, I'm glad you started off with posture, because that's my that was music to my ears as a chiropractor. But then also the striking and the cadence, I think is so crucial, because you see a lot of these people that have these really slow cadence with these long strides where they're doing this heel impact, and then because of that and doing that massive heel striking way out in front of the body, you see your body has to decelerate the foot as it's going down, which the impact on that heel strike leads to exponential forces translated through the knees, hips, and spine. But then also you get a higher rate of things like shin splints and plantar fasciitis because of the deceleration issues that come from that.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think it's great that you guys are looking at that, and you guys watch people run on a treadmill in your store just to make sure that you're fitting them appropriately, right?
Yeah, we do it for everyone that comes in. Just because we have doctors like yourself sending people our way, and if we're going to have those referrals, there's a certain expectation. Like, I don't want to do anything that counters the work that you've been doing, and I also want to make sure that we offer due diligence because you're sending someone to us or anybody that walks through our door. So we have a few steps. We use the old school brand device that just measures the width and length of your feet. And when people come in, they're like, I haven't seen one of these since I was a kid. And that's coming from somebody that's generally in their 70s or 80s that are getting fit for shoes. So we start there. We love to get our customers out of their socks so we can see the actual shape and anatomy of their foot. Some socks have compression, so it changes the form and shape of the foot. Some socks, again, have that same compression, will change how the arch sits and rests. So after that, we watch you walk just up and down the floor casually. And then we take you over to our Atrix foot scanning device. And that's newer for us as of December this past year. So 2020, we brought that in, and that measures pressure points in the heel and the forefoot of the foot. It gives us an actual 3D photo of your entire foot, length of your arch, and volume. So when I say volume, that's how you sit down into the shoe, top to bottom. So how high or rigid your arch is, or how low and flat your arch is. From there, we bring you out a test shoe. We watch you run on the treadmill with a program called Coach's Eye. And Coach's Eye allows you to slow down videos into 1/16 of a second frames so we can see individual and small motions, how your ankles, your knees, and your hips are working together or coordinating to create what we call your body's gait or biomechanics. Most important thing to us is to cancel out any deviation with the footwear that we subscribe based on what we see there. So deviation is a shift or a change in an angle. So if your arch flattens out and your ankle rolls this direction, we want to make sure we get you some type of guidance. Or if you have a really rigid arch that's pretty high and you're falling to the outsides, we want to make sure that we get you into a shoe that has a wider platform. So when you're falling to the outside, you're supported. Just different measures and methods and ways of doing that depending on the person. And we do like to look at the foot again to see what type of shoe you belong in. If you have a wider foot, New Balance is generous in the forefoot. So we suggest something from them or from Brooks. So we actually have narrows, mediums, wides, extra wides in store so we can make sure that we're bringing out the shoe that best fits your foot. So it's a process, yes, but it is one that 95% of the time has worked out for us.
That's awesome. And with all the tests that you guys run and the fitting and the sizing and stuff like that, do you guys charge anything for that?
So that is a part of our service when you come in to purchase shoes. That is something that we think everyone deserves, and the time spent just to make sure that what they're leaving with is what they expect and what works for them. Being that our price point, I don't think it's the most expensive, but that's not for me to decide for someone else. We're right around the $130 to $150 for most of all of our athletic footwear. If you're just coming in wanting to go through that entire process to see what type of shoe you belong in, or to get something to send back to your doctor, because we can email all of these from all platforms. So we can email the foot scan to Dr. Matt. We can email the video from the gait analysis to Dr. Matt. That is a $25 value. And I've seen people charge $200 for that type of service. So we don't want to break our customers at all. That's not what we're about. We're definitely not the salesy group. Just want to make sure that everything that they're getting and the value that we're offering is kind of it matches up.
Yeah, and that's what I love, that when I visited you guys and I saw everybody there is knowledgeable and well versed and passionate about running and customer service. And so I think that the price point that you guys have, from what I've seen, is super reasonable, considering, I mean, when you think about how much money people waste on buying shoe after shoe after shoe because it doesn't fit well, or having to see healthcare providers because they injure themselves because they're not in the appropriate footwear. I mean, it's really a great value. Yeah. And so where did you guys start? How did you guys start?
We've been in Charlotte for 21 years. Scott Dvorak started Charlotte Running Company. Actually, the first location was right next door to Tiber Creek, over in the South End area. And then from there moved to Dilworth. And then now we're on our 5th location.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where are some of your favorite places to run in Charlotte?
So me, anybody that knows me knows that it's the Whitewater Center all day. Hands down. I love the Whitewater Center no matter what. I actually still haven't put my pass up. I just got it. It's on my dresser in there. I need to put it on the on my dash. I haven't been as much as I've wanted to this year. And then next up, Colonel Francis Beatty. So McKee Road off of Providence Road in Charlotte, South Charlotte. Love it over there. It gets busy, so the earlier the better, because it is like nestled into a neighborhood, so it turns into a dog park at some point of the day if you don't get there in time. Yeah, I love Latta Plantation. That's a really cool place to run. Ann Springs Greenway. I've gotten lost there multiple times. And then just recently across the street from my house when I moved to Dilworth, Latta Park. I like to run through there. It's fun. You can get out on the light rail if you want to and get some more miles, wrap back around, come around by the hospital, be uptown, and then end back in my neighborhood. And
are all of those regular flat running, or you do trail? You do like at Whitewater? Do you do the trail runs there?
I love trails.
Yeah.
So that's why Whitewater Center first. Like East Main, I'm a huge fan of that loop. And you can enter through either side. Parking is really pretty good at the Whitewater Center. Yeah. I was hurt when they moved it up from that $5 to $6. I tell everybody about it, but it's fine. That's why I went and got the pass. It's worth it. I wrote a letter about $1. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It adds up if you're going all the time.
Yeah. And then Colonel Francis Beatty, that's another trail.
Yeah.
Roads.
I'll probably see you out there. I do a lot of mountain biking at those trails. So
oh yeah.
I'll probably see you out on the trails. But yeah, the Whitewater Center, I mean, it has like 40 to 50 miles, I think, of trails.
Okay. So when I first went there, this is a funny story because obviously I had no mountain biking background before I moved to Charlotte. I was reading and it said, must wear your helmet at all times. And I was like, to run, I got to have a helmet. So I went in and was prepared to rent a helmet so I could go for a run. And they were like, no, not you, like for the people biking. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I was like, a helmet for running. I had no idea. I wasn't going to argue with it. Whatever.
So when I'm out there biking and I see some guy running with a helmet on, I know it's you.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. So what are some of your, like, what are your favorite shoes for yourself personally to do road running in, and what are your favorites for trail running?
Okay, so I'm from the same school of thought as you in that more natural movement creates more natural running. And like flexibility of the shoe, the thing that lets my shoe move the most. So I like Ultra, the brand.
Yeah.
It's like, you want me to grab a pair?
Sure, if you want to go grab a pair.
Yeah, I'll be right back. 2 seconds, and then everything goes off and comes unplugged. But be right back.
Yeah, what I love, just for people listening, what's great about the Ultras is they have a wide toe box and they have a 0 heel drop, so it keeps your foot in a very natural position. It doesn't have an elevated heel and squeeze the toes in, so it allows a better freedom of movement. So you got them?
I do. Make sure. Perfect. So this is them. That foot shape is natural because we have room for natural lengthening and splay. Because a lot of running shoes come to a point like this. Our hands are shaped like that. Our feet are not. Because it's 3 to 5 times our weight every time we land, our arches need to be able to lengthen and our toes need to be able to splay. This shoe allows for it. But also, like Dr. Matt was saying, it's a balance cushion or 0 drop system. So there's no huge heel lift like most running shoes that promote an unhealthy heel strike. It just forces you to either distribute the weight or land a little bit to your forefoot, and they're super flexible.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
And that's why I like this shoe. So that's my road option. This is the Escalante, and yes, we do have it at all of our stores. And for my trails, I like the same company, but I use the Lone Peak.
Nice.
Yep.
That's cool. So what does it have? Just a thicker tread on the bottom? Is that it?
Yep, it has a plastic shank heeled to a forefoot inside of it to protect you against roots and gravel and whatever other terrain. And a little bit of more. It's not just that like flat rubber outsole. You'll be able to see the treading kind of stick out a bit to get you some traction just in case. Cool. Yep.
I'll tell you a funny story about like natural feet and movement. So we were traveling in the Philippines, and we were on an island way off the coast of the Philippines on a surf trip. And all the local guys there, they never wear shoes. Like everything they did was barefoot in the road. And then where you go surfing, it wasn't sandy. It was all rocks and coral. And they're like basically running barefoot across rocks and coral. And I couldn't believe it. And I look at their feet, and they had like the most perfect anatomical and biomechanical feet you've ever seen. Like very wide foot, perfect arch, splayed toes. And then they even had like a callus along the bottom of the foot that acted as a layer of protection. And so I told the guy, I said, I know I'm going to ask you a really weird question. I go, do you mind if I take a picture of your feet? And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, no. I'm a doctor and I do presentations on biomechanics, and you have the most perfect like biomechanical feet I've ever seen. And he got so excited. He like lifts up his foot for me to take a picture, and he calls over to his buddy that was ahead. He's like, hey, he's a doctor. He said I have perfect feet. He was so, and I still have it. And I use it for like, if I do a presentation on something like that, I show that picture of what we want to work towards. So it's pretty cool. I love that. And also for those of you people that are listening, if you're a patient at Precision Chiropractic at our office, just let go when you go to the Charlotte Running Company store. Just let them know that you're a patient of ours, and you get a 10% discount on your shoes. And if you're not a patient, it's worth it. Come on in, and then we'll send you over to Charlotte Running Company so you guys can get 10% discount and get some shoes from them, because we already have. I've even before this conversation, I've recommended a bunch of patients over to the Charlotte Running Company. I love what you guys are doing. I love what you stand for. And not only do I think you guys have great products, but even more importantly, you have great people behind those products.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And do you have anything else that you want to add before we jump off here?
Not necessarily, no. I was excited to come into your practice and meet you the first time and see that there was already a gentleman sitting in there at the time that he and his wife had just shopped with us, and he was super excited to go on and on about same thing you were saying, just like coming in, getting shoes, the experience that he had, and again, just want to throw back out there that we make sure that the people that come to we're locally owned, so everything that we do is because we want to do it, and because we're passionate about it and we care about it. We don't have sales goals. We don't have sales commissions. We're also really involved in our community. Anybody that knows us knows that we put on a ton of races throughout the year too, with start to finish in races online event management. And we are excited about the opportunity to have some more front facing start and finish line races here again pretty soon too. So that's really it.
I'm looking forward to that also. I'm going to be out there running with you guys.
Yeah, we'll be having some good form running clinics coming up. They've been virtual, so if anyone's interested or if you know anyone that would benefit from it, we can send them a link or try to get them some attendance to that too.
Yeah, let me know when you guys have that going on. I mean, I would like to attend as well, and I will definitely put it up in the office and recommend it to patients as well.
Oh yeah, and if anybody wants to see you this weekend, aren't you going to be at the shop?
Yeah,
on the 27th.
Yep.
At our Promenade location.
Yep, we will be there. We'll be there doing some structural assessments, so we're looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on today, and we'll there's so much more that we could talk about, so we'll definitely have to have you on again and extend this conversation.
Okay, I'll be there.
All right, sounds good. Take care.